That
And
is.
as a matter of fact, night transportation had a huge part to play in that. If it hadn't have been for night and the career that I've had with them, I'd probably still be in Gulfport.
So thinking of Gulfport, a number of years ago, there was a huge hurricane that went through there. Were you there at the time?
I was. And as a matter of fact, I was in Biloxi, Mississippi. I had an apartment on the beach when that came through. And a lot of people, when they hear of Hurricane Katrina, they think of New Orleans.
Always, yeah.
But that's not where the hurricane actually made landfall. The
Biloxi was like right in the center, right?
Well, the center of it went more over Hancock County, Mississippi, closer to Bay St. Louis. Mm-hmm. But the worst part of a hurricane, as most people know, is that northeastern quadrant, which is what hit us head on. And there was just nothing left standing.
So did you lose your apartment? Like, was everything?
Oh, it was demolished. Everything was gone.
Oh
I lost everything, had to start over from scratch. But I was fortunate in the sense that my family was amazing, and they helped get me on my feet.
Wow.
Because I had just had my first daughter, who was only, I think she was born August 5th, and it hit at the end. So she was 3 or 4 weeks old.
Oh, my gosh.
When that storm hit.
So where did y'all go? Where did you go and take cover?
Well, initially we went to Hattiesburg, thinking that would be, that's about an hour north of the coast, and we figured that would be far enough north to at least, avoid the main brunt of the storm. But just so happened that's where all the tornadoes were.
Oh my God.
So we were fortunate. We were in one of the only houses that made it off of Hardy Street, which is the main street that runs through downtown Hattiesburg. So we made it, and then the next day, my father and I, a friend of mine had evacuated with us. He had a 4x4 truck. So the three of us piled in the truck and headed south. It took us, I think it was about 5 or 6 hours to travel an hour's distance. And when we got down there,
there was nothing there.
Ours was all gone. My parents' house was left standing.
Oh, wow.
Were they north of the interstate?
No, they were south of the interstate, but they were in a perfect position to have been protected from most of the wind and water.
And the surge, the storm surge.
Right. So the railroad tracks that runs through Gulfport and Biloxi, that was really what stopped most of the surge. So if you were north of that and you could survive the wind, you did okay for the most part. So,
well, I was traveling through Gulfport a few years ago, and everybody remembers Katrina, and we saw the devastation on the television and the news channels. Okay. But until you drive there, and then someone who lives there shows you and tells you about what was there, residences, businesses, and homes and buildings, and they're no more. They're completely gone. Then you realize how devastating it really was.
You can still see scars in the concrete, in the asphalt from what was left behind. It was horrible. I still can't watch videos. A lot of people look up videos and want me to watch it with them and tell them about it, but I can't do that.
Yeah.
So were you a sheriff working for the sheriff's department at that time yet?
I was not with them yet. I didn't go into the sheriff's department until 2009. So that was several years after. I did, however, work with several guys who were with police departments at the time Katrina came through. As a matter of fact, a lot of them were with the Pass Christian Police Department. And it was, I think my entire shift at the time was there. And they would tell me stories where they were all trapped in the public library in downtown Pass Christian when the water was coming up. Wow. As a matter of fact, there's a video on YouTube that a lot of people see during the hurricane that was recorded from inside of a building looking out 2 glass doors. Mm-hmm. That was them.
In the library.
Wow. And the water was coming up to the point to where they said they had to shoot the doors out to get out of there.
Because they couldn't push them out.
They couldn't push them out.
We had and you might not remember this, Linda, but we have a terminal in Gulfport, obviously, and it was built, I think, on the north side of the highway there.
Yes.
So it escaped, the brunt of the damage and the storm surge, and we had and have diesel generators there for backup power. And I remember that for a few days, the law enforcement used our terminal because we had power as a communications center. So when you returned back to Gulfport, then what did you do? I mean, if you didn't have a place to live, then what?
Well, at the time I was married to my first wife. She had family that lived in Oklahoma. So that was one of the hardest decisions I ever had to make. I had to leave my family behind, and because I was really the only able-bodied male in my family. My father was getting older, and my mom and my sister. And they finally convinced me that they would go stay at my uncle's house in Hattiesburg. So I would leave and take my young daughter with me. So I did, and we went and stayed with her family in Oklahoma and just did odd jobs until it was okay enough, safe enough to be able to come back and start work. And at that time, if you couldn't go to work, you went to Able Body, which was a construction company down there that just put people to work daily.
Yep. To try to rebuild.
That's what I did to make money until I got picked up by a construction company. Thank God. Yeah. And time went on from there. Eventually, everything slowly started to heal and come back, and looks far more beautiful today than it did even before the storm. So
wow,
definitely thankful for that.
Wow. So there's always a silver lining, right? A bright spot.
It's hard to see it because of how much loss there was, but yes, we were able to get a lot of nicer new buildings and new civic centers and things like that, and a lot of the businesses were able to come back because of insurance, and they built back better.
That's nice.
And a lot of the downtown area in Gulfport tried to keep that older, nostalgic feel, so a lot of them have that older style to them, but they're brand new inside. It's really pretty.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So when did you finally move back?
It's hard to really pin down a time. I think we were only in Oklahoma, I think, for about a month.
Oh,
and
wow.
then we came back so I could get to work, because I was getting phone calls how much money everybody was making. The blue-collar guys were making money they'd never seen before. Mm-hmm. So we rushed home to take advantage of that.
Thank you for watching that clip. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see more clips like that, please click here.
Or if you'd like to check out a full episode, click here.
And don't forget to subscribe to us on
YouTube.